Mhm. So, hi everyone, good evening for those individuals who are watching this, for those learners, and for those of my classmates who are watching this. Good evening. And within this video, I'm going to discuss about the things that I have learned from the course Stylistic, no? Discourse analysis, specifically from chapter 1 to chapter 3. No? The things that I've learned. Yeah. So let's start. Let's start with the bakit ko i-post. So let's start. Yan na, mandilim. Kasi naka-blindfold. Yan. So here, from chapter 1, it is where it's entitled Discourse Analysis, and we define what is discourse analysis, and also we have this proponent Zelig Harris. Now Zelig Harris is the pioneer or the first proponent who introduces the term discourse analysis. Now we define discourse analysis of the analyzation, or how we analyze the language, the meaning of a language in a real life communication. Now here, discourse analysis, we also give emphasis to the term context. That the context has a vital role in terms of interpreting or analyzing the meaning of the meaning in a conversation, or in a communication process. Because if with the absence of the context, the meaning, according to Sir EJ, the meaning would collapse. Would collapse. For example, solely focusing with the phrase, "It's so cold in here," without a context. Now there's an interpretation, a lot of interpretation, kasi nga we are assuming of a lot of context. But if there is no context within that phrase, the meaning would collapse. But if you're going to provide a meaning, or a context with that, if you're going to provide a context with that phrase, "It's so cold in here," then yung meaning niya, it's certain, hindi na siya vague. Now, for example, "It's so cold in here," and you provided a context na you're inside the classroom and it's raining and the door is open, and you are stating it to someone who is close to the door. Sinabi mo sa kanya na, "It's so cold in here," and then nandun yung meaning that you are asking for that someone to close the door because it's so cold and windy, something like that. No, that's what we call a context. Context is where or perhaps also how the situation happens. Parang ganun siya. Yes. Yeah, ganun. And then next, we also discuss the term pragmatics. And when we say pragmatics, also here we discuss that pragmatics is the speaker, or the meaning of the words beyond the semantics or the literal meaning of the words. Parang ganun. Let's have the example again. The example, "It's so cold in here." Now, when you say it's so cold in here with that given context, yung nasa classroom ka, you're not just saying na malamig. In terms of pragmatics, the meaning that you want to say, the meaning they want to say is you're asking for a request. That's pragmatics. You're not just stating na malamig, but rather you are asking for that someone to close the door. That is pragmatics. When we say pragmatics, It is the meaning beyond the literal word or beyond the semantics. That's how we define a pragmatics. The next one also, we also give emphasis to the term or to discourse structure. Now, when you say discourse structure, it is where it is the organization or the sequence of the in a conversation. It is a sequence or organization organized in it is an organization or a sequence in a conversation. Now, according to Mitchell, that which she give emphasis or emphasize on it, na sinabi niya na in every conversation or in a conversation, most especially in a formal setting, there's an organized or a sequence of conversation. For example, diba, if you're going to a faculty, let's have this context na you want to clarify something about an assignment, no, sa teacher mo, and your teacher is in the faculty. Is there an discourse structure, like is there a sequence of conversation? Meron bang mauuna? Meron bang una doon? Meron in terms of communication? Is there a pattern? Diba? Pagpasok mo sa faculty, ano sabihin mo? Of course, you are going to say, "Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am." Now, with that, "Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir," you're starting with the greetings. It's already a pattern. It's already an organized. It's already a pattern, a sequence of conversation. And then before you're going to raise your concern, you will always start with, you initiate your conversation with the greetings, and you end up with what? You end up with goodbye, with goodbye. Yeah, with thank you, sir, goodbye, thank you, sir, goodbye, sir, something like that. And according to Michelle, that is that there is an organization or a sequence of conversation. No, with that context, but you could also have a lot of nakadepende ang sequence of conversation depending on also in a context. And also here we also discuss, meron siguro ako nakalimutan, but yeah, kung ano naalala, we also discussed the communicative competence. Now, when we say communicative competence, it talks about the ability of the individuals to use the appropriate word depending on the context. Parang ganun siya. It's the ability to use the appropriate words within the context. For example, for that, no, you are complying or you are raising a concern regarding with the assignment for sa teacher mo doon na sa faculty. And when I say communicative competence, it is the ability to use inappropriate words, no, within that context. Siyempre, teacher mo yan. Of course, you are going to utilize a kind of words or kind of terms that is not offensive. Hindi mo naman sasabihin doon na, "Sir, bakit?" Sabihin mo doon, example, mag-ano ka, "Sir, hindi man klaro yung instruction. Hindi man klaro yung instruction mo, sir." Hindi man klaro yung instruction mo, sir. Di ba? Parang ganun. If you're going to utilize that one, it's kind of rude, no? Basta siya. Parang ganun. With that context lang naman. That's what I have understood. No? Hindi yan talaga. But you could just research that one. It's communicative competence. And it's the ability to utilize, it's the ability to use the appropriate words depending on the context. So yeah, yun lang maalala ko for now. And let's proceed to the chapter 2. Now here in chapter 2, which is entitled the discourse in social, but yeah. And here we initiate the chapter 2. We introduce the topic, the discourse community and the speech community. When we say discourse community, we are referring to a group which shared which is sharing a common like common goals, interests, norms, traditions, like that, according to reporter Miss Ann Gaudiano. And also we define speech community as who shared, or who someone who understands the language, the tone, the norms of the language, something like that. Yeah, for example, in a classroom, dun tayo sa classroom. In a classroom, no, we are having a discussion, having a discussion in terms of stylistics doon, 'di ba? Report, meron conversation na nangyayari. And that, no, with that, we could consider that a discourse community because we have a shared goals, no, na makapasa or to have understanding doon sa subject. No, we could consider that one. And when we say naman speech community, it is where, in terms of language, it focuses on a language that you could understand each other. But also, as what I have remembered also, Sir EJ also stated that the speech community also, we could also consider speech community kahit na they do not have a chance for interaction. For example, speech community, for example, Leather Merke Hawari, a Bisayan speaker, and we have this name, they also have this guy, Jefferson Jordan, who also is also a Bisayan speaker. Now, in terms of understanding, pag kami dalawa nag-uusap in terms of language, we could understand each other, but we don't have an opportunity for interaction. Pero in terms of understanding, naintindihan namin, nagkakaintindihan kami. Gets? In terms of tone, di ba, meron kami dalawa. In terms of accent, in terms of language, nagkakaintindihan kami dalawa. And also here in chapter 2, we also discussed the term ideology. Now, when we say ideology, it's a set of it's the ideology. It's a set of belief. It's a set of norms. It's a set of belief, no? When we say ideology, and in terms of discourse analysis, when you say ideology, and but first, when you say ideology, like for example, when we say ideology na here in a Filipino context, pag kumakain tayo, and then pag sinabi na meron ideology na merong ideology na pag inubos hindi natin inubos yung kanin, 'di ba? Parang siya, parang masama siya, pero there's no explanation, but parang masama siya, parang gano'n kasi sa amin. Gano'n kasi sa amin. Pero somehow as I see it personally, ideology depends on a culture, depends on a belief of those individuals. Merong iba na they do have an ideology na pag nahulog yung kutsara, there is a visitor, specifically na babae. Pag tinidor naman is lalaki. Tama ba yun? Ganun, that's ideology. No? And the next term also, we also have this social identity. Tama? Social identity. Now, when is a social identity, it is wherein we are utilizing a term, or we are using a language of how we want the people to see us, diba? For example, you are speaking English all the time, at most of the time, diba? Kahit mali na, ganun pa rin, ganun pa rin, you are still utilizing the English language, kasi nga you do want you want them to perceive you as a matalino, ganun. Parang ganun siya, matalino siya. That's why you are ganito, ganyan. Or also, pwede mo rin sabihin na, you could also, parang, mag feminine voice ka kasi gusto mo makita kanila as babae or like lalaki talaga, ganun. That's also so in terms of social identity, in terms of the discourse discourse analysis manner. Yeah, so within ganun lang ata. Meron pa ba ako nakalimutan? I don't know. Ganun. Yeah, that's the thing. The next chapter, which is the chapter 3. Here in chapter 3, we discuss, nakalimutan ko man. We discuss, hindi ko na, yeah, we discuss, okay na ba na the mix? No, we here let's take approximately from chapter 1, chapter 3, we also discuss this maxim. Now, this maxim, we all have this in terms of communication. We have this 4 maxim. The maxim of quality, which is focuses on the information, no, the enough information, the sufficient information. No, that's what we call quantity. And when we say quality naman, it is the truth, no, the maxim of truth. The next one, we also discuss the maxim of quantity, quality, the maxim of yung isa, yung manner, quality, quantity, ganon, but I forgot. The maxim of relevant, the maxim of quantity, quality, yeah, which is meaning it's relevant, something like that. We discussed this specifically in chapter 3, no, and also here in chapter 3 we also discuss the well, I guess that's all the things that I have remembered, no, but if you are going to provide me the terms, the terminologies that I have learned within these chapters, I could have an understanding na based on my own understanding of this one. Meron naman, and I would like also to have an acknowledgement for those individuals, for those reporters who already who are the reporters from chapter 1 to chapter 3. Good job for you all for an comprehensible input that you provided us, most especially to Sir EJ, who is a really good instructor. Now we understood truly these concepts because of him. No, thank you so much, and that's all for my video. That's all for my part. Thank you.